Like, why did I survive? Survivor's guilt's part of it, but the other part is I made decisions where to put these guys. And if I hadn't made that decision, could they have survived? You know, could I have done something differently? So I just had a lot of guilt, not only because I survived, but because I feel like I was responsible for them.
Hello and welcome to season 2 of Guess Who Died, a podcast where we talk about who died and how we feel about it with Jeff, myself, Julia, and producer KC. All right, Jeff, so many people died this month.
Oh, geez.
Start us off with one because we have such a list.
Okay, well, I'm going to the movies.
Okay.
We woke up Sunday morning and found out Diane Keaton had passed.
That was a big one.
79 from complications from pneumonia. And I remember the first movie I saw her in back in the 80s, Baby Boom.
Oh.
About a woman that worked in business and she had a baby and she ended up having to walk away because she was a mom. Wow. And I think she created her own jam and created a business out of it and made it work.
Amazing. Women can do it all.
I also love that that's your first Diane Keaton movie. One that very few people know.
It took me to, I was in my 20s, so I saw The Godfather.
Okay.
Yes.
Obviously, she's in, the Godfather movies, and more recently for me, Father of the Bride with Steve Martin.
Sure.
Yes.
And obviously, as a film person, Woody Allen. Come on, Annie Hall.
See, mine is more like Something's Gotta Give.
Great
yes.
movies.
Yes.
Great.
I loved her.
She's
She was
just
so
an icon.
awesome.
An incredible career.
Yeah.
A unique personality.
Yes.
Say what you will about her. She had a way.
Mm-hmm.
She kind of reminded me of my Aunt Claudia. And my mom always said that too, and it's true. That's kind of like my Aunt Claudia. If you see a movie of her, it's like, okay, I can see it.
Yeah, she seems like a kooky aunt. R.I.P. Diane Keaton.
Yeah, and you're right. Again, we talk about every month the cultural impact, and when Diane Keaton died, everyone's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah." Whether you liked her work or not, you knew her.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. I don't know which one Casey's going to do. I mean, there's a couple here. I'm going to do the two that I don't think you guys are going to bring just to get them out of the way. One is D'Angelo, music icon.
I knew you'd pick him. So
Did
I let
you?
him off my
Okay,
list.
that one just happened. So that one was. And then Asada Shakur died a few weeks ago. She was a big activist, long term, even back like decades ago. So that was just another one. So I'm going to pass the buck back to you and see who you get. Casey, who
with D'Angelo, again, worth noting, pancreatic cancer, very fast.
Yes.
51 years old.
young.
Years old.
I know.
Always an advocate for, get your testing, get your screening, go to your doctors.
Please.
Sooner rather than later.
Yes.
I don't want to be but we're
seeing a rise.
Yeah, the numbers and that are coming out with that kind of stuff. So
my impact here, I have to go Robert Redford.
okay, that's not who I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, I went to school at University of Colorado. Robert Redford had such a legacy out there. He drank himself out of school, but he had his favorite place, the Sink, which he eventually bought out there, is a restaurant that everyone who goes to school in Boulder, you see there's a mural of him out there. So it's a kind of a thing. And just, again, an incredible human being.
Yes.
He's the Sundance Kid.
What a
so
great
he's got
movie.
these iconic characters that he's played, but then incredible Oscar-winning director, creates Sundance Film Festival and continues to perpetuate the artistry and the whole nine yards. And then environmental activist. He won the presidential award from Obama. He won the Kennedy Center award from Bush. He won something from Bill Clinton. And then he's in Julia. He's in the MCU universe for you as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know. Well, he's in my heart, so that's how I know Robert Redford.
He's just
gorgeous.
gorgeous.
Oh, man,
You
yes.
can't deny
I
it.
know,
He's
yeah.
gorgeous.
Yes.
He's gorgeous and incredible and will be missed. He lived a good life.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Agreed. All right, Jeff, who do you have?
Okay, I was with somebody's wife yesterday. And
That's who I
thought. Biggest Kiss fan I know.
Yeah.
Ace Frehely passed away
Yes.
yesterday. 74 years old, one of the original members of Kiss and Fraley's Comet, Space Ace.
Space Ace. Yeah. We were my wife being the big Kiss fan in our family, we were saying, how many times have we seen Kiss? And we were trying to go through the numbers. And actually, our guest who's on today, Mikey, is another big Kiss fan with us. So I think I've seen him 5 times,
Oh
and
my
Jess had
gosh.
seen him, I think, 15. I don't know if she ever saw him with the lineup with Ace Frehely.
Wow.
And I said to her, I was like, Jess, but he hadn't performed with the band in so long. Is that still an impact? And she goes, Casey, all of your favorite songs are Ace's.
Aww.
Yeah, you're right. They are. So yeah.
R.I.P. Ace.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that last night too.
I was a fan. I loved Kiss,
Yeah.
but she overshadows me.
For sure.
Yes,
Yeah,
for
she's
sure.
a diehard
Yes,
Casey's
she is.
wife.
Yes, she is.
All right, here's my last one. Jane Goodall.
Jane Goodall.
Yes, Jane Goodall.
I knew you'd bring Jane today.
I think it's so commendable, incredible. She was 91 and died on her speaking tour series. She
sure
was
did.
still out there doing the work.
Yes. She is just like a lifelong educator.
Yes.
That is just her mission in life.
Yes.
She is passionate. I think that's a
Right.
great way to say it. She just wants to spread the message, She's always been about I'm going to do.
I think you look at someone in 91 still doing the work to try to make the world a better place, the way she saw it, and advocating for, all that she did.
Agreed.
Who gets a movie made out of them? Usually they rest.
Right. Right.
Not Jane.
Yes.
So.
I know. I couldn't believe it because we got Robert Redford and then it was so soon after Jane Goodall died.
Yep.
And I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be a great episode. And then 10 more people died.
They
So-
kept going.
I couldn't believe it. It's like when we do, it kind of makes me nervous when we do a show because I'm worried about the
next day.
Who are we jinxing?
Yes, I know. And you can always tell, like, when we still have a while till we record, we'll text each other when someone dies. And as it gets closer to the record, we do not say
Yes, that's
anything
so
to each
true.
other. We're all keeping it for ourselves.
I was on the air, and I get this text in the morning from Julia about Robert Redford.
Yes.
And when we found out about Ozzy, I'm doing Olivia's House stuff.
I
I find out
know.
about Ace Frehely, we're doing Olivia's House stuff. It's like
That's true. We're the
This
jinx.
podcast has definitely changed the way I watch that news or hear about that news or impacted. Before this it was always,
Yeah.
and now it's like, oh my gosh, I have to tell them.
Yes.
Which I have written on my note here, Jeffrey. We talked about this after our last episode. We both realized, oh crap, we didn't give credence to Terrence Stamp.
all right.
He had
yes.
died, and we both missed it because he wasn't on the list. Another incredible actor that deserved recognition. So
for sure.
bringing Terrence back up. So there it is.
All right. Anyone else that we missed?
There are some. Brett James died in a plane crash, not as well known, but he wrote the song "Jesus Take the Wheel," which was then, covered by many, many artists.
Yeah. Well, speaking of a lot of great people that have been lost, our guest today has a story that I don't believe has been shared often, if ever. So I'm excited to have him on, welcome him into the space and hear what he has to say. So we will be right back with our guest, Mikey, on Guess Who Died? Olivia's House is an independent, freestanding, nonprofit grief and loss center that supports children and their families before, during, or after a loss, all at no cost. When death enters your house, you are welcome at our house, where families are met with professional care, expert guidance, and resources for children and teens of any age. Nestled in central Pennsylvania, Olivia's House continues to be the premier independent grief and loss center.
And welcome back to Guess Who Died? I'm Jeff, along with Julia and producer KC. And we have a very special guest with us today, Julia.
Welcome to the podcast, Mike Sharp.
It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Yes. So we are honored, Jeff, because Mikey has quite a story to tell and doesn't tell it often, or maybe hasn't told it quite yet to this extent. So I don't even know the details, and I'm really honored that you're here today.
It's an honor. So I'm here to share a story of grief, but it's really to honor some American heroes that I had the privilege of serving with. So that's the mission of today, is to tell their story so they're never forgotten, and then we continue to honor their service and sacrifice.
Wow. So Mikey, the title of the podcast is Guess Who Died? It's how we start every guest segment of the episode. So we're going to ask you now, who died?
3 soldiers in Operation Desert Storm in 1991. I had the privilege of being their platoon leader. Private First Class Miller, Private First Class Daugherty, and Private First Class Collins. They were under my command, and all 3 were killed in action in Iraq in February of 1991.
Operation Desert Storm.
We heard it all on the radio. You don't know unless you're there. And we heard about, the liberation and getting Iraq out of Kuwait, but our boys were there. You were there.
Yep.
You were our boys.
Yeah, I was, so I had gone to college, and I was in my 3rd year of active duty in the Army, so I went in as a lieutenant. I was the first lieutenant, and I was stationed in Fort Riley, Kansas, which is the home of the 1st Infantry Division, the Big Red One. It's the most decorated unit in the military, in the Army anyway. So I'd already served 3 years in active duty out in Fort Riley, and when Iraq invaded Kuwait, of course, the ball dropped, and when it was announced we were getting deployed, of course, the 1st Infantry is usually one of the first units in. We're a tank. It's called a Mechanized Infantry Division. So basically tanks and Bradleys and Cobras and Apache helicopters. So we were well designed and basically outfitted for desert warfare. So I had the honor and the privilege of being in the 1st Infantry Division in the 1st Brigade, and my unit was the Task Force 234 Armor. So we were the very first units into Iraq. Our mission was to punch holes in the berm and the breach that the Iraqis had built up so all the units behind us could come in. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the left hook that General Schwarzkopf, that was part of his operational plan. We led the left hook. We went in west of Kuwait into Iraq, and then the 7th Corps came in behind us to liberate Kuwait and push Saddam's army back up into Baghdad. Wow. Yeah. So I had the honor of being one of the first American soldiers into Iraq.
I was going to say, that's history. Like, we're talking the things that are taught in classes, that are in the books. You lived that.
Sure did. Yeah, I was 25 years old. I was just a kid.
Yeah.
I've known you a few years now, and I had no idea. I remember what I was doing when we went in. I was washing dishes at Pizza Hut, and I heard about us going in, and to meet someone and be friends with someone who was leading the charge is an honor.
And it's one of those things. We say it's an honor. I hear you say it was a privilege, and I believe those things. And also, there's a lot of pain and trauma and ugliness, I imagine, wrapped up in that. So what was that really like for you?
Everybody's experience is different, but for me, the Army does a great job of training us and getting us prepared for combat. But when you're 25 years old and you see death and destruction, they don't prepare you for that. I was a lieutenant, so I had a platoon of 45 soldiers. And the 3 I mentioned were 3 that were under my chain of command that we lost. So I took it personally, and I still carry guilt for leaving 3 soldiers behind. But I want to continue to honor them. We have a saying in the Army that no soldier gets left behind. And also, if they don't come back, we also honor that they're never forgotten. So that's part of why I'm here today, just tell their story so that people that maybe don't understand how it works, whether it's Desert Storm, Iraqi freedom, or any other conflict, that there's families that are still hurting, that soldiers sacrificed, airmen, Marines, whatever it may be. So we just don't want them to ever be forgotten.
Yeah.
And the one soldier I want to speak specifically to, I got to kind of know. I mean, I had 44 soldiers, and you don't know them really, really well. But this one kid I took a liking to, and him and I were pretty tight. And I actually called in the medevac when he got wounded. He got hit with an IED. And I called in the medevac, which is a helicopter to take him back to a medical evacuation station. So I got called in. We have medical ambulances and tracked vehicles. So they brought him from where he was hit to the battalion headquarters where I was. And that's where we had the helicopter fly in to take him out. And we had a battalion surgeon with us. When you go to combat in a tank unit, you have a surgeon with you on site. So they patched him up as best they could. But what still gets me is I was talking to this kid as they were packaging him up to get him on the helicopter to take him out. And the surgeon was there. And you know how soldiers are, just dealing with stress. I was joking around with this kid that we're going to take his MREs and his goods, and because we thought I would see him. He had a pretty significant wound in his leg. We put him on the medevac helicopter, and we continued the fight. And I'm in the operations center. It's called the Tactical Operations Center, which is where the hub of all the communications is. And we always call in, it's called SITREP, Situation Report. So later on that afternoon, we got a SITREP on our other soldiers that had been wounded and got evacuated. And the call came in that there was a couple KIAs killed in action. And I read off this kid's name. I just couldn't believe it. I was shocked. Because I was there when we put him on the helicopter. I have a picture of it.
Yeah.
I walked with the surgeon holding him. So what happened was I found out later on at a reunion, actually about 10 years ago, the surgeon was there. And I asked, I thought he was going to live. So what happened was his femoral artery was severed, and the surgeon had it clamped with his hand. And when they did the handoff, getting him onto the helicopter, for whatever reason, he bled out before they landed. So I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. I was just talking to this kid.
Mike, when you're in the fight and you're going through that and you hear that and you're close to this soldier, how do you move forward in that situation feeling the way you're feeling?
We were in a fight. You gotta focus. There's no time to rest. There's no time to dwell. There's no time to be sad or angry. I just got to continue the fight. So we really kept fighting just to honor him and the other soldiers that were hurt and wounded. And by that time, we were good and mad. Like, I was really mad.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get revenge, and a lot of other guys did too. A whole new level of anger set in. So it's just adrenaline, because we were up for 4 nights in a row. The ground war was only 4 days, they say.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't sleep at all. The adrenaline just kicks in, and you just got to keep going. You got to stay in the fight. And that's what Daugherty would have wanted us to do, not give up.
I mean, just the magnitude of all of this. I mean, just even breaking down what you just said, if I had a period of my life where I stayed awake for 4 days straight, I don't think I'd ever shut up about it. It would be the first thing I told everyone I met. I would be like, "You'll never believe this crazy thing I did once. This is it was, I'm serious."
I believe you. Yes.
I know, and Jeff does believe me. So that's one thing. I mean, sleep deprivation of 4 days, and I'm not just saying it's a crazy story. That's literal torture. That's physiological and psychological torture to your body. And then on top of that, for it to be a historical battle taking place that you are fighting the front lines of. And then on top of that, for there to be these direct loss. I mean, there are so many pieces. So I can imagine in the beginning, you're not processing all of the trauma right away. It is just that go, go, go mentality. But years later, all of that is still here.
Absolutely. Yeah, when you're in the fight, I mean, the adrenaline just kicks in. I mean, we were exhausted. We would get, 5-10 minute naps here or there, but we were on the move the entire time. So if you're in a tank or a Humvee or a tracked vehicle, you're not sleeping.
Yeah.
So, but if and the rounds are going, a lot of movement going on, you don't want to sleep. Trust me.
Yeah. And tell us more. So when you say you were a platoon leader, okay. So is that because you were a kid? I mean, I'm picturing this wise person that knows everything, and I'm sure you were at 25. But tell us, really describe what that relationship is like. Are you in charge of giving orders to all 44 of these? Are you all sleeping in the same barracks? Like, what is that looking like?
Yeah, so there's no barracks.
Okay, I know I'm saying the only words I can think of. I'm like, I got boot camp I can throw out, and then I'm done.
So one thing about the Army and the Air Force, my dad was a career Air Force officer. They always had cots and tents or hotel rooms. And the Army doesn't work that way. And in tank battalion, there's no tents, there's no cots. You sleep where you can. I was fortunate. I was a lieutenant. I had 2 Humvees. So I slept on the hood of my Humvee.
What?
Most nights, yep. And the tankers, they had a lot worse. There's really no room to lay down. So you sleep sitting up when you can. Yeah, for 9 months we were out there in the desert. Wow. So how's it look? So as a lieutenant, I went to college. I went through our ROTC program. I don't know if you're familiar with that. To become an officer, you have to either go through a military academy like West Point, go through ROTC through college, or go through officer candidate school where you're enlisted first and then become an officer later. But I was young, but I had a platoon sergeant with 20 years experience, an E7, sergeant first class. So he was my right hand. We got along great. I technically gave the orders, but he executed them.
Okay.
So I would go to battalion staff meetings, get a briefing as what was going on, what our plan of action was, what our mission was, and then I would relay it to my NCOs, the non-commissioned officers, and namely the E7. The NCOs run the Army. The officers may make the decisions, but the NCOs run the Army. So I was fortunate enough to learn that from my dad, that they make it go. So unfortunately, I had a really good platoon sergeant. He made things happen.
So you're fighting through, the adrenaline's going, the battle finishes, then what?
Well, we have to notify the family. So here's the thing. From Desert Storm 1991, people may not realize, we didn't have laptops. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have email. We didn't have Skype. We would send our casualty report into division headquarters every day. And at the end of the night, or at the end of the day, they would call back to Fort Riley, Kansas, and then notify the families. So my dear wife, I think we were married 2 years, she had to wait by the phone every night
Oh my gosh.
to get the casualty report.
Wow.
And there was 3 just in my platoon, but the Big Red 1, we had 54 KIAs in Iraq. So those numbers were getting called in every day. So that's pretty tough. But then the families so we had to do the family notification. And then our battalion commander wrote letters to the families. But we had to gather their belongings, tough stuff.
That's an intense experience.
How did you all hold each other up after that?
That's a brotherhood. That's a good question. And I can only relate it to people that play football or some sport. How you fight and compete for your teammates. That's how it is in the military. You fight for your brothers. Like, we didn't care. I mean, we did, but honestly, we could care less what the political mission was. We were there. We were called to fight. We had a mission. We were going to fight for our brothers. That's what it is. You fight for the guy next to you. They trust you. You trust them, and let the politicians deal with the other stuff.
Yeah. I can imagine that would weigh heavy on your heart if it feels like the guy next to you is trusting you and
Absolutely.
you're coming home without
Yep.
some of the men from your team.
And that's how you train. You always have a battle buddy. Someone always looks after you. So there's a saying, I got your six. I don't know if you've ever heard
Okay.
that, but if you look at the clock, 12 o'clock is straight ahead. 6 o'clock is your back. So I've
Yes.
got your back. I got your six. So there's a brother. In fact, I'm so honored that the guys I served with, my lieutenant group, I think there's 13 of us. We still do, we do a group chat. We do a Zoom. And my unit gets together every 2 years.
Wow.
We stay in touch with it. We hold each other accountable. We have battle buddies. There's been a lot of veteran suicides. And my unit experienced a couple of those too. So we try to hold each other accountable and got your six. So if you need something, reach out. Don't be ashamed,
Wow.
So we still have those networks.
Okay. Okay.
In fact, I talked to my battle buddy yesterday because I was nervous about telling a story. And he was just encouraging me that it's a way to honor our guys so they're never forgotten. So
Talk a little bit about the nerves that come up when what does that bring up for you that makes it hard to share?
So my grief journey is because I have a lot of guilt. Like, why did I survive? Survivor's guilt's part of it, but another part is I made decisions where to put these guys. And if I hadn't made that decision, could they have survived? Could I have done something differently? So I just had a lot of guilt, not only because I survived, but because I feel like I was responsible for them.
Did you connect at all with other platoon leaders that had their men killed in
Yeah, that's a
action?
good question because one of my major mentors in life, of course, my father, but my battalion commander, we're still close. And personally, I lost 3. He lost, dozens. So just seeing him, how he carries on and carries himself. And he goes to Arlington and visit these guys.
Wow.
Yep. And he stays in touch with the families. This kid, Private Daugherty, his mom came to our reunion a couple years ago.
How was that?
It was a wonderful experience. I told her, I have, so these 3 gentlemen, I call them my soldiers. I have a monument on my desk. I've kept it with me for all these years. I have 3 flags. I have their names. And I showed her a picture of my desk. And she was just so honored that we never forgot him and we still talk about him. So she wanted to hear the whole story. She wanted to hear everything about him, which is pretty cool. So it helps her grieve, and but also that his sacrifice wasn't in vain. Like, we really did care, and we still do, and we still honor him. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then something that's helped me over the years in my grief journey is honoring these 3 guys. They all had military funerals with all the military rights, which is great. And Daugherty's at Arlington National Cemetery. The other 2 guys are in national cemeteries, veteran cemeteries. One's in Texas, one's in Indiana. But I personally, a few years ago, I wanted to honor them too. So my son and I, since he was a baby, we put flags out at Prospect Hill Cemetery for Memorial Day. And a couple of years ago, I took their names and I put rocks. I made a monument for them in Prospect Hill. So I go out every Memorial Day and plant flags and just have some time with them. That's my way of honoring them and never forgetting, so. It's just part of the journey.
I think it's such a testament, even you sharing the one man's wife or mom, wanting to hear these stories and wanting to hear the details. It's the same thing as you coming here today and having the courage to share this story. That is how we continue our relationship with this person. You said at the top, it's no soldier left behind. That's what this is telling the story. That's not leaving him behind. And so I think that's really special and cool that you're able to do that.
Did his mom have any words that helped in your journey of grief that made you feel a little better about the situation?
She did. She told me to let it go. It wasn't my fault. So she really helped me too.
When a mom tells you that, you know to believe it.
But that's how I can't speak for the Marines and the Air Force, but I'm sure in the Navy, I'm sure it's the same way. But in the Army, it's a brotherhood. I mean, it's a brotherhood closer than I was in a fraternity. I've got 5 brothers, natural brothers. But there's something to a brotherhood, especially after you served in combat. It's just a bond that It's incredible. So that's why we hold each other accountable. We lift each other up. I got two of my buddies that I served with. They're both just medically a mess. One guy's hooked to a trach tube because of all the oil field fires. Another guy's got, just all kinds of cancer stuff. It's but we still stay in touch. We got that brotherhood. We lift each other up.
Yeah.
We love each other so much. We bust on each other. And one guy's got a trach tube.
Yes.
I can only imagine.
And he was a West Point grad, so he thought he was tougher than the rest of us. So of course we have to give it back to him.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh. That is the best thing about friendship. And I think that the intimacy, whatever that looks like, just relationships, our brotherhood, the connection we have with each other is just being so real with each other. And we're not going to treat you with kid gloves. And same with you, Mikey. We're not going to treat you like you're fragile just because you've been through this experience, but we are there to support you and be present with you.
Thank you. I've learned a lot. And my grief journey I've really come a long way just by listening. I've learned a lot from Olivia's house, but not just the staff and the volunteers and the companions, but also the stories. So it's something, everybody deals with grief differently. So it's really helped me along the way. So I'm just honored to be able to share some of these guys' stories. And 30 plus years later, it still means a lot. We still haven't forgotten them, and we never will.
Yeah.
And you continue to do work with veterans and soldiers. And how's that look?
I do. It helps me with the guilt because the way I look at it is I pay it forward. I do work with soldiers. I'm a coach, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a licensed counselor, but I do coach, and I just interact with guys and give them encouragement and lift them up and let them know that there's a path through this journey of emotional wounds or physical wounds, that we stick together, that no one's left behind.
Yeah. Yes. I think that's cool. And, the coaching piece, that's, again, part of building that community is just when someone can understand you and you don't have to explain what a platoon is and that there's no barracks and you don't have to go into all those details. They just know, and they were there and they can smell it and remember lying on the Jeep and,
Yeah. In the military, we have our own language.
Yes.
Everything's an acronym. And if you walk the walk, you can talk the talk. So it's cool to continue to have that, we kind of have our own little language.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just different call signs and, there's a name for everything.
So I'm curious about what support, it sounds like you've sought out healing over the years on your own. What support was offered to you from the military after these losses or just through the years?
Yeah. So the Army's done a much better job recently. 30 years ago, not so much, but we learned from it and we continue to move forward. The VA is an awesome resource for soldiers. It's free counseling. There's a hotline people can call. Statistics are getting better, but 22 soldiers commit suicide a day on average throughout the U.S. That's soldiers, sailors, and Marines. So,
and we say die by suicide or died from suicide, complete suicide, but that's intense. A day
on average. So,
and you said you've had several in your networking group that you know of, or your
so we had a reunion. We do our reunions every 2 years now, and I think it was probably 6 years ago. A guy, I just talked at the reunion. He completed suicide on Veterans Day. The reunion was in June. He completed suicide on November 11th that year, and we thought he was healthy. We thought he was good emotionally, but so the colonel, our battalion commander, still. Has us. We have a Facebook page and we have email and text message and stuff. And he'll do a battle buddy check in because he said that's it, no more. You guys got to reach out to each other, got to take care of each other, reach out. Yeah.
So that's our way. Of his story not being forgotten is
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, because people just have a lot of guilt and shame and stuff they saw. PTSD. I don't know. It's just stuff haunts you. You see some stuff like that and. So anyway, but the VA's great, counseling, support, there's groups, there's equine therapy, they do fishing trips, hiking, all kinds of stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Love that.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, trauma is a wild beast because it changes the brain. And even though it can be caused by experience, sometimes we often can't just think our way out of it or just wish our way out of it. So it takes that active work. And like I said, it sounds like you've been doing that over these past decades.
Yeah, 30 years.
When you came home and you were feeling this guilt, did you know you needed to reach out to somebody? How did you know, and when did you take that step that I need to get help?
That's a tough question. So I'm just going to be completely honest because I'm on this healing journey. I waited 25 years to talk about my experiences because as an officer, we were told that help was made available to us. but it was an unwritten rule that if you sought help as an officer for emotional wounds, you weren't fit to serve going forward. So I couldn't talk. I had to hold it in. You can't show weakness in front of your soldiers. So as a leader, so I had to suck it up and deal with it, and as best I could. It wasn't until I had kids, I became a father, and then I started valuing, life and that whole experience. And I just think about these young kids that were killed at 20 years old, and what their parents were going through. I didn't know the level of love of a parent until I had my own kids. So I can't imagine these moms and dads, But so I had an experience. I had a flashback in front of my daughter.
Oh.
And she's now a counselor. And she encouraged me to get help. So she was in college at the time. And she saw firsthand how I was still suffering from this stuff. And I made a promise to her that I would get help. And now she got her master's degree in psychology. She works with kids.
Wow.
Yeah, So she was my battle buddy later in life, to have the courage to get help.
Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah, I could tell you more about that, but just,
Please, you're welcome
Well,
to.
Absolutely.
I mean, I was ashamed. I never told anybody because not only losing 3 soldiers, but I saw a lot of stuff too. And I got involved in stuff that still haunts me. But so I just thought it'd be tough. We call it soldier on. You suck it up, you drive on, move on. So I thought I could handle it, but it was impacting more than I realized. And then my daughter saw firsthand how it was affecting me, and she made me promise to get help, and I did.
Yeah.
And now I'm at a point where I help others. So it's a pretty cool journey.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you brought with you today?
Oh, yeah. So I call them my soldiers. These 3 guys, I have a printout of their, it's a plaque. So at the headquarters in Fort Riley, Kansas, home of the Big Red One, we have a plaque for every soldier that was killed in action. And this is just a printout of these 3 guys, my guys. I keep a memorial on my desk at work, and I have their names and a printout. I keep it with me. I have it on my refrigerator at home. I have the memorial for them at Prospect Hill Cemetery that nobody knows where it is but me. So I have their names, and I have a little tank I keep on I was in a tank unit, so I have a little tank that I keep on my desk just to remind me of every day is a good day. I get to go home at night. I get to sleep in a warm bed. I get to have a hot meal.
Yeah.
So, and I'm here.
Right.
And some of the guys didn't make it back. And the ones that did, some are suffering still. Like I said, my buddy's, having a lot of medical issues. So I'm just very blessed. I just try to appreciate every day, just be blessed for everything that I have, and just focus on the blessings and not the troubles, And then I'm trying to take that positive energy to other people that maybe need help. I'm trying to be a light in sometimes dark spaces. So yeah.
That's admirable that you are sharing this, because I heard you say, not just guilt, but shame is involved in a lot of this. And then shame is a powerful emotion that can prevent us from taking a lot of steps forward in life. So to face that head on is very, very cool. Thank you.
But to answer Jeff's question earlier, I sidestepped it. But I got to.
Oh, yeah, anyway.
I got to fess up though. The main reason I didn't get help was pride. So I've learned.
Another very strong.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
So you got to humble yourself and put your pride down to be man enough to get help. So that's the message I convey to these younger guys that think they don't need it.
Yeah.
So.
We were going to ask kind of as a finish up, what advice do you have for other soldiers on this journey or on a similar track?
Well, I would just say, look, it's a brotherhood, whether you're still serving or you've finished serving. Stay connected with your battle buddies if you can, or if not, find new ones. I'm really good friends because all my guys live outside of this area, but I'm friends with a lot of guys, local guys, that they have different experiences, but similar in a lot of ways. Combat experiences, so we just stay connected. And I would say find a support group. Start with the VA. There's lots of resources through the VA, all free. Like I said, there's equine therapy, there's groups, there's one-on-one counseling, there's hiking trips, there's camp outs, all kinds of stuff with like-minded veterans that are dealing with emotional wounds as well. The message is no soldier is ever left alone. No one's ever left behind. So you're not in this battle alone anymore.
Yeah. I think that can apply across the board too, to anyone. Have a battle buddy, find your battle buddy, and no soldier left behind.
Yep, exactly.
Well, Mikey, we like to finish off our episode with our guests by cheersing to them.
Oh.
So I would like to ask, since we're talking about 3 people here, we would like to say to their name. What would you like us to say? Should we say all 3 of their names or?
Yeah, let's.
Okay, so tell us what order we should go in.
All right. PFC Daugherty,
Okay.
PFC Miller, and then PFC Collins.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3 to
Cheers,
PFC's Daugherty, Miller, and
Collins.
Collins.
Never
Cheers. Never
forgotten.
forgotten. Thank you so much, Mikey. We will be right back on Guess Who Died?
Guess Who Died is brought to you by Olivia's House, a grief and loss center for children. Olivia's House is a community-funded organization that provides comfort and education to families when they need it most, and we are able to keep our doors open thanks to donations from people just like you. Find out ways to support or get support from Olivia's House by visiting www.oliviashouse.org.
Welcome back to Guess Who Died? Quite a guest, huh?
Yeah. I didn't know what to expect with the story today, and it was very emotional.
Yeah.
And I think everybody could pick that up as they were listening to Mike's story and his loss and his sheer courage to come in here today and share that story.
Yeah.
And be emotional about it, let himself be emotional about it.
Mm-hmm. I think it's such a trope, the soldier with PTSD, it's that we sort of have accepted it, but we don't think about the nitty gritty of it and the absolute pain and suffering that someone can carry with them for so long. And that it wasn't until 5 years ago that he kind of got that shock to his system of, I need to work through this. It's really fascinating when things affect the brain to such a high degree.
It's one of those unseen wounds.
Seriously.
And a lot of our service members carry those wounds and we don't know. And we can't know.
Right.
Unless we've been in a similar situation.
Right.
And to hear that story it's heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
To have to, consider somebody having to go through that every single day.
Yes.
To know Mike is to love him. He is one of those few people in this world that I always say, oh, there's just genuine good people, and Mike is one of them. But to have that glimpse of, for lack of better words, the hurt that's in there. And despite all of that, he's still an incredible person. That moment when he said, I still get to go home to a warm bed at night, even though all that pain and all of that suffering, still positive and good and kind. What a gift.
Yeah. Yeah. Because he does remember sleeping on his Jeep, that he was one of the, quote, lucky ones because he had a Jeep he could sleep on. He didn't even say in. He said on the hood.
He was on the hood, stretch out.
Yeah.
Humvee, but yes.
They're all Jeeps to me. Anything that's box shaped and probably has an open top. Come on, I said barracks earlier.
You were good. You were good.
She's come a long way in her
right?
military knowledge.
But it really, and just even down to from the outside perspective, my mindset is, of course it's not your fault. Of course what happened is so completely not your fault. But for him to, and Jeff, you asked that perfect question of, what did his mom say to you, or what was that connection at the reunion? And he said, she told me it wasn't my fault. He doesn't need the rest of the world to say, oh, of course it's not your fault, duh. You need that person's mom to look you in your eyes and say, honey, you're good.
You did all you could.
You did all you could.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like a movie moment.
Really? I have chills just recounting it right now.
I remember in Good Will Hunting, it's not your fault.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you got to keep hearing it.
Yeah.
And hopefully eventually it gets through that it's not your fault.
Hopefully you believe it.
Yeah. And that just goes to show we know someone, but we don't know where they're at all the time inside.
And yet, he turns and tries to help others.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way he continues to pay it forward and keep Daugherty's legacy alive. And I think that that's one of those things that we talk about oftentimes in our work in the bereavement field is legacy. And they're not gone. And how do we continue to honor and keep their memory alive in this world? And what a beautiful job Mike's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, down to having the tank figurine on his desk. And when he
Yes.
talks to one of their soldiers' wives, he can say, yeah, look here, it's right on my desk. I think about them every day. I go to the cemetery every Memorial Day. This is part of my life's routine because of that impact. That's something else.
And yet it's another piece too, because we look at it's not for show.
Not at all.
The fact that his memorial is hidden, it's just for him. He said, no one knows it's there, and it's just me. It is authentic and real. And I think that goes back to why that mother can say.
Well, I love this message of battle buddies and no soldier left behind. And I got your 6. So, Jeff, I got your 6. Casey, I got your 6. And that's going to be my new.
I like it.
2 days from now, Casey's going to be like, Julia, stop trying to make We Got Your 6 happen.
No, I like it. I'm right there with you. I think that the world needs more people who have your 6.
Yeah. Agreed. Absolutely. All right, friends. We are in this brand new year. We have brand new guests, and we can't wait to keep seeing you back on the pod. So catch us next month to find out who died. Guess Who Died is an Olivia's House production, sponsored in part by the M&M Lissauer Family Foundation.